His name was Arvid, born in a forgotten corner of a cold Norwegian town, in a house where the walls leaked winter and the cupboards often held nothing but silence. He grew up watching his mother stitch clothes late into the night just to pay electricity bills. His father had walked out when Arvid was 9, leaving behind only a broken chair, an empty promise, and a lesson that life doesn't give you what you want. It tests how badly you want it. Arvid grew into a quiet teenager, the kind others overlooked. He tried and failed, tried and failed again. School wasn't kind. People weren't kind, and life seemed allergic to giving him even a single chance. Every night he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, whispering a question that burned in his chest. Is there anything inside me worth fighting for? Depression wrapped itself around him like cold fog. Rejection hammered him on repeat. He felt invisible. And slowly, painfully, he started believing he deserved that invisibility. Until the night everything changed. He had walked out to the fjord, the cold wind slapping his face, the waves crashing like a heartbeat against the rocks. He wasn't there to die, but he wasn't there to live either. He just stood there, unsure what came next. An old man, his neighbor Henrik, approached him silently. He didn't ask questions. He didn't judge. He simply stood beside Arvid and said, "Pain is not your enemy. Giving up is. Broken people can rise higher than anyone else if they choose." Arvid felt those words like lightning in his veins. Henrik continued, "Life is not supposed to be comfortable. You grow because it hurts. You rise because you refuse to stay down." For the first time in years, Arvid felt something spark inside him. It wasn't hope. Not yet. It was anger. Anger at his excuses. Anger at the version of himself who believed he was nothing. That night, he made a decision that would define the rest of his life. I will rebuild myself, no matter the cost. The next morning, Arvid woke before dawn. He started running, barely half a kilometer, before his lungs burned. But he returned the next day, and the next. And the next. He trained his mind like a soldier. He trained his body like a warrior. He trained his spirit like someone who refused to stay broken. Discipline became his weapon. Pain became his teacher. Consistency became his religion. People mocked him. You'll never change. You're wasting your time. Go back to being nobody." He didn't answer. He simply worked. Because he understood something Eric Bertrand Larson says again and again. Comfort is the enemy. Discipline is the path. Arvid took small jobs, cleaning floors, carrying boxes, fixing boats, anything that brought in money. He saved every krone. He read for hours. He studied. He starved his weaknesses and he fed his strengths. Years passed. The boy who once stood defeated at the fjord slowly transformed. He applied to a maritime engineering program in Oslo. He was rejected. He applied again the next year. Rejected. The third year, they didn't even call him for an interview. But he didn't stop, because rejection was no longer an ending. It was fuel. He worked harder, studied deeper, learned faster. He trained his mind until doubt had no place to hide. Finally, on the 4th attempt, an email arrived. Accepted. He stared at the screen with trembling hands, not because he got in, but because he realized what persistence can do. Once in Oslo, he worked twice as hard as everyone else. He woke at 4:30 every morning. He trained his body. He trained his discipline. He trained his mind. His classmates laughed at his intensity, but intensity was all he had ever known. Slowly, the same people who mocked him began asking him for help. Years later, Arvid graduated top of his class, but that was just the beginning. He founded a small marine tech startup with borrowed money and one second-hand laptop. Investors ignored him, banks refused him, friends doubted him. Yet he kept going, one hard day at a time, one painful choice at a time, one disciplined step after another. And then, one winter morning, everything changed. A Norwegian shipping company noticed his work. They invested. Then another company joined, then another. Within 5 years, the boy who once had holes in his shoes became the CEO of one of the fastest-growing marine technology companies in Scandinavia. He bought his mother a warm house where winter could never enter again. He stood at the fjord, this time not as the broken boy, but as the man who rebuilt himself from nothing. And with tears in his eyes, he whispered, "I was never worthless. I was just untrained." His journey became a message he shared with the world. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. Discipline is freedom. And your story is not over unless you quit writing it. If you feel lost, if you feel broken, if you feel like life has slammed every door in your face, remember Arvid. Remember that darkness is not the end. It is the place where warriors are made. Bree, it is the beginning of your rise. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you imagine. And your future is built on the choices you make today, not the mistakes you made yesterday. Stand up, wipe your tears, face the fear, break the excuses, and rise. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories inspired by Eric Bertrand Larson.